have to do it on my own. So if there's something he can help me with, then that's
Well, see, that's the thing. Now, when you're before me and you're looking at potentially going to prison, now you're like, oh, well, he can't help me with that. He's told you that. Be an adult, solve your own problems. This is supposed to be problem solving. That's why you're on probation for anger management issues, because you can't problem solve. I don't know. Maybe you never were taught to problem solve. But if he's telling you, no, he can't do that, that's not in his job description, then there's no need to use profanity against him. He's told you, I can't do it.
Judge, if I could
Yes.
speak for a minute.
Here's what most people miss: probation is not a punishment, it's a test. And Miss Holmes, she's flunking it hard. The officer's job is not to rescue you, it's to monitor your behavior. If you are already disrespecting that system, the courtroom's patience gone.
Throughout my time working with Miss Holmes, it's been pretty apparent that she has a pattern of not taking responsibility or accountability for her behavior. This last incident just kind of made it painfully obvious.
Woo, get your heart right. That's not courtroom language. That's a spiritual intervention from a government employee. When a probation officer gets this real, you know the behavior has crossed a serious line. Would you call that professional or personal?
How there's a deeper issue. There's a heart issue. Until she can get her heart right, this pattern of behavior is going to continue for her throughout her life.
Oh, so here's the thing. When someone says hello, there's usually a response back. So let me just tell you what's going on. You're being rude and disrespectful to your probation officer. You act like you're not on probation. When I say there's to be no contact, there's to be no contact. And now you're using profanity towards the probation officer like you're not on probation and that this is somehow his fault. It is not. It's all your fault. You're here because you're on deferred adjudication for injuring someone who's an elderly.
Let's pause. She just admitted, under oath, that she didn't take accountability. And yet she's trying to argue she did. That's contradiction 101. In a courtroom, your words don't just echo, they haunt you. So ask yourself, is this damage control or just denial?
Person. That's why you're here. You're not on probation because he placed you on probation. You're not on probation because he committed a crime and you're taking the time for him. You're here because of your actions and you're acting as though none of this is your fault. This is all your fault, 100%.
I'm not acting like none of this is my fault, and I take accountability for what I've done.
No, you have not taken accountability. Did you take accountability for using profanity towards him?
No, I didn't.
And I don't know why people think that when you're in a situation where you should be using logic to find what are using your cognitive skills to decide how I'm going to proceed with this, instead, you go after your probation officer. And the probation officer, let's be honest, every defense attorney will tell you a probation officer holds your life in their hands. Because you know what? Let's say you're supposed to report to probation at 9 a.m. and you end up reporting at 9:05. Guess what? You have not reported at 9 a.m. A probation officer can say, hey, that's a no report. But sometimes they may take sympathy on you and say, I realize what's going on. They're here. But they don't have to do that. And you using profanity.
This is where it all unravels. She wants sympathy for a medical emergency, but the judge is laser focused on the bigger issue: violation of no contact orders. In legal terms, that's called deflection, and it never lands well with a judge.
Towards a probation officer is not helping your case at all.
And I understand that. And the reason why I did, and I didn't, I just said the F word because he called me a liar. And when I didn't lie to him about any situation that was going on, I sent them all the information from my legal aid lawyer. I sent them everything. He even gave me his personal number for me to contact him. When I had to go to the emergency room and had to get a blood transfusion, he even offered to take me there. He called.
This is not your blood. This is not about your blood.
I know it's not about my blood, but it's he basically, when I went to go see him, he was telling me that I lied to him, which I never lied to him about anything.
No. This starts with you wanting to go to a location where I said you are not allowed to have contact. That's where all of this came up. Then everything snowballs into something else.
Yes, ma'am. And I did exactly what you told me to. I didn't go to that location. I filed my police reports. I did everything that I could do without going to that location.
All right, so then that was it. I don't know. What do you expect him to do? Like, I like for people to just put their cards on their table. Sometimes people are like, judge, but I like everybody to have an understanding. So you go to him because you want to go to a location and retrieve items when I told you couldn't go to that location. So we're back to the point. What did you want him to do?
I asked him if was there any assistance or any way that I could. He told me I don't know. He told me he didn't know, he couldn't help me. So I didn't have no other choice but to call the police, make a police report.
This right here is courtroom gold. The judge is laying out the probation officer's actual job description like she's reading it from a manual. Supervision, not transportation, not storage, and definitely not conflict resolution. So why is this still so hard to grasp?
I had my daughter, she's 16 years old, to go there. When she went there, she took pictures of everything that was outside.
All right. So again, what did you want him to do? He said, hey, I don't know. There's nothing I can do for you.
When I contacted Miss Adams, she told me to ask my probationer if there's any assistance that he can help me or provide without going to that location.
And he's saying no.
And he said no. And I told him I don't have no other choice. My children is 16 and 18. They didn't have the money. They don't have money for you all. My daughter just quit her job because no one was able to take her to work. So I didn't have nobody else to help me.
So again, I don't know how this translates into you using profanity against him. He's like, I can't help you. And honestly, it's not his job to help you get your things. Really, you know what a probation officer's job really is? And they'll correct me if I'm wrong. But their job is to make sure that you abide by your conditions. Everything else that they're doing is just extra, but that's not their job. It's not, for example, if you can't pay your utilities, it's not their job to find places for you to pay utilities. They'll do it. They'll say, here's some places that you can call. But that's not his job. And if he tells you, I can't help you with getting your things, again, we're back to the point. He says, I can't help you. So what do you want him to do? He's like, I can't help you. And how does that translate into using profanity against him? And then sending him an email, telling him all this is his fault and it's on his shoulders. It's not. All of this happened because of you. Guess what? You can't go to that location because you injured an elderly person. That's why it's all your fault. And there are consequences for all our actions.
So let's zoom out. Even when warned, even when told repeatedly that's not my job, she keeps pressing. If this was a movie, you would call it tragic. But it's real life and it's playing out like a crash. You cannot look away from what would you have done differently.
It is. And I communicated with him. I told him everything. I sent every case number. I even sent him my legal aid information. I sent everything.